Hello, today we are going to talk about business, specifically starting a business here in Albania. I have started a business here. It is a coffee shop. However, we are not open yet. I am still renovating. Things are still being done. If you do want to follow that, we have another channel. It's called Cafe 1912, which means Coffee 1912. And that has to do with the Albanian independence was in 1912. So we're going to talk about my experience opening up a business thus far. I'm about 2 months and 2 weeks into it. We're going to go over why Albania and a bunch of other things that will hopefully answer your questions. This isn't a how-to. I'm not going to tell you how to do everything, but I'm going to tell you, was it easy and those type of things. So let's get started. So why Albania? Why should you look at this country if you're looking to start a business? One, they really want foreigners to move here and start businesses. You might say, why? Why don't they start their own businesses? They have a lot more people who, let's say kids that grow up and they become 18, they move away. They go to other countries. They're not staying here in Albania. They're moving off because their relatives, a lot of them already live overseas and they are joining them. So they do need people to come in and fill in the gap. And that is where the foreigners come in. So there's a lot of incentives also here in Albania to start a business. There's tax incentives for foreigners to start a business here. So if you're looking to start a business somewhere, you might want to take a look at Albania. It's up and coming. It is improving every year. It is a great time to start a business here. And the amount it costs to rent or lease a business space is very cheap. So make sure you check out more details on that by Google searches or other videos you may find. Do your research is what I'm trying to say. But I think what you'll find is Albania has a lot to offer those of you who are looking to start a business. So number one, how was the process here of starting a business compared to what I expected? Well, we lived in Thailand for 4 years before moving here, and getting anything done in Thailand for a business or something like this that involved legal entities and bureaucracy is a complete nightmare, and it can take forever. So that's kind of what I was expecting by moving over here. But boy, was I surprised. Within, I think it was 2, maybe 3 weeks, I already had my business name registered. I had a business number. I forgot what they call it here, but anyway, your official number you need here in Albania for your business. All that happened real quick. I did get an attorney to help me with this whole process, and we are working on getting our residency based on our business. So all that was kind of lumped into one. It worked out real well. The attorneys are not too expensive here, so don't think I'm talking thousands of dollars. I'm talking hundreds of dollars for the attorney's help. And they have been very helpful. They know what they're doing. They'll get things done. So the process there just blew me away. I thought it was going to be very difficult, very long process. The only thing that I've seen that's taking just a little bit longer, and I don't know what the finish line is, I'm already a month into it, it was just getting a permit for outside my cafe to use the outside area for seating. Still waiting on that approval. The next thing I wrote down on my list to talk about is, did I have any surprises? Yes, it was a good surprise, and that was the tax incentive. I'm not sure exactly how it works because we haven't made any money yet. But according to our attorney, there are up to, I think it's 85,000, let's just say euros worth of tax incentives. In other words, I don't think I owe taxes on what we make until we've hit a threshold of 85,000, something like that. That isn't written in stone. I got to see it to believe it, but that's what I was told, so that was a nice surprise. Next is language and communication. How was that while I was starting a business? It was rough. I'm going to do a video on how to survive here in Albania if you don't speak Albanian, so there'll be a whole different video for that. But once you've got a method down, it isn't that bad. There has been some miscommunication. That's going to be the main thing. My biggest tip for you on that is, obviously everything's important when it comes to a business. And when you're dealing with contractors or other people about your business, you need to reiterate different ways Especially look out for this. If they speak some English and want to speak with you in English, make sure that you have translated a paragraph or two of what you all agreed upon in Albanian and hand it to them and let them go over that to make sure you have exactly what you're asking for. Because sometimes, I'll give you an example. So in one, I was hanging up a bunch of pictures here. So I went to a studio to get the pictures and get them framed. And I asked for certain things. I told them, not only do I need them framed, but I also need them professionally hung up in nice, neat rows and this, that, and the other. Oh, no problem. Only to find out later on that the guy who thought he could speak English well did not know what the word hanging up meant. So when it came to that point, he's like, come by my office and get him and have fun. I'm like, well, aren't you bringing them here? Aren't you going to hang them on the wall? And then he says, what is hanging? And then I was like, oh no. So yeah, he didn't say anything, but he didn't understand it hanging. And I also didn't want glass on the pictures. They all have glass on the pictures, or most of them do. So then again, the language is a little bit of a battle, but just do your due diligence on making sure that the other person understands what you're talking about. The paperwork part, bureaucracy, paperwork, all that stuff, since we had an attorney, wasn't bad at all. As a matter of fact, I had very little of it. Sign here, sign here. It was written in English. It was also written in Albanian, so we know what we were signing. And it was a pretty flawless process, so much easier than Thailand that I just can't see straight. And they don't have all the regulations that you would expect in other parts of Europe and the United States. So those things are a little bit easier. For instance, let's talk about in the United States, we'll talk about fire safety. There's going to be strict guidelines as to what kind of extinguisher you need, how many pounds. You got to have a exit plan on the wall and all this good stuff. It's a little bit different here. It's a little bit more laid back here is how I'll word it. Yes, I do have a fire extinguisher. No one twisted my arm and made me get it, but it's a good thing to have. So I do have that. But let's just say a lot of things aren't as strict here, which makes things a little bit easier for starting a business. Next is professional help. Was I able to get professional help here in Albania? Yes, I had to count on that help. So of course I had the attorney for all the legalities. I had another attorney that helped me with the permit for outside that we're still working on. I had an engineer who had to write up a sketch for the city for our outside area. I've used contractors, professional plumbers, electricians, the list goes on. It can be hard to find the businesses here that you need to contact simply because a lot of these places and people don't have websites, they don't have Google listings, so it's a little bit difficult. Here's what you do. Once you're in with one contractor, just let them know what else you're looking for. For me, it was really helpful. I got an electrician. He was fantastic. I asked him about a plumber. I asked him for a flooring guy. I asked him for everything that I needed, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a friend that does that. Oh yeah, I got a friend of mine who's got a company that does that too. It's worked out wonderful. You've instantly got credibility too with the other contractors. And because you paid guy number one, the rest of them, since they're hearing from that guy about you, they know they're going to get paid and they will feel a little bit better about working with you. Now we're going to talk about a little bit about cost and expectations. Sometimes my expectations have been blown away. They've exceeded my expectations. Sometimes it's just been a little less, but nothing bad that I can say. And the costs, you really got to watch the costs because unfortunately they may look at you, if you're a foreigner, as having unlimited money and give you a higher price. I've had to tell somebody no for a ridiculous price. And I even asked them, I'm like, okay, he's an American price? Oh, no. It was. I asked other Albanians and they're like, yeah, that was really overpriced. If you're ever in doubt, just run the prices that you're quoted with an Albanian friend of yours that's somewhat knowledgeable about these kind of things, and they'll let you know if it's in the ballpark or not. But I have found that I haven't been gouged. I'm sure I paid a little bit more than I would have if I was Albanian, to be quite honest. But every price I have paid, I have been okay with, and it seemed reasonable. Now let's talk about the cultural differences in business, meaning getting your business set up. So I didn't know what the work ethic was for these people that I hired to do all the work in here. I got good news to tell you. I have been pleasantly surprised by most of them. The only thing everyone was great, except, let me just give you the negatives. I had a lot of people who came out and they were supposed to give me quotes. They came out, looked at everything. I got along great with them. I even had coffee with them. We joked around about other things, talked. Everything was great, and you never hear back from them ever again. I have a feeling they just got over here and they decided the work that needed to be done, they may not have been qualified for it. I don't know. I've had others that gave me a quote, and that was the end of them. They kept saying, I'll be there tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow, only they just never came. So that was, cut the ties with them, that's it. I'm moving on to somebody else. That was not the norm, though. I've had pretty good experiences, but you'll have problems like that in just about any part of the world. Another thing, how has the locals been when they find out you're starting a business and they ask you about it? Well, as far as mine goes, they've been very happy about having a business here. I'm a coffee shop. There's coffee shops all around my location. Well, they were friendly too. I'm friends with, all the ones around me for the most part. So I've got to know them. I've invited them over to come look and see how the progress is going. So it's just been a very warm and welcoming environment business-wise. So it's been very positive. Now the emotional side of it, is it stressful? Yes. I put most of the stress on myself. I'm a high-strung American. I think everything's got to be done right here, right now. It's just always how I've been wired. So I've kind of been pushing myself a little bit too fast, and maybe my expectations on people to hurry has been a little too aggressive. So for that, it has been a little bit stressful for me. Hopefully you're not that way and it won't be stressful for you. It is hard here in Albania to get some things that you need if it's very specific. I'm not saying it's not here. Finding things have been a little bit difficult. For instance, we needed coffee cups. Man, that sounds like a really easy thing to do, only we didn't want the same kind everyone else has, and we needed specific sizes. I mean, like down to the milliliters. We needed specific milliliters and everything. And we wanted them to be beautiful and different. Well, after looking, and I'm sure they have it here somewhere, I just got sick of looking at for them. I had to order them from Germany and have them imported over here. Another item was a specific portafilter that goes to an espresso machine. I looked for it. It was hard to find, ended up having to order that one from Italy. Sometimes you're going to have to go outside the country to get what you need. Not that big of an issue. So the biggest lessons I've learned so far, well, that is the process is a lot easier than I thought. And everything was, for the most part, a lot easier than I was thinking they would be. And I will easily tell people who want to start a business here, you should do it. If it's the right kind of business, if there's a need in this country, I think you should do it. The rental prices, again, for the business spaces, do some searches on that. It's kind of hard to find them online, but if you can, you'll find out they're fairly cheap. For instance, the place that I'm at right here, it's on the first floor. First floor places a little bit more expensive because, it's retail space. People walk by. This is 35 square meters. Now, it was listed as, I think, 45 or 42, something like that. But it's really, I measured it, it's 35 square meters. And I pay 400 euros a month. A little bit on the high side for where I'm at, but I love this location. I saw other locations that were 250 euros. There's also businesses, if you don't mind being on a second floor or in an area that's not very conspicuous, you're gonna pay a lot less. So as you can see, the prices for retail space renting is fairly affordable. I'm going to say it's really affordable. So if you are planning on starting a business here in Albania, if you're kicking that idea around, I would say you're doing the right thing. I would say come visit here, meet with an attorney, talk with them about what all is involved, talk to them about their fee and what they can do for you and how you can stay legal in the country with your business. Are there any incentives for foreigners moving here, starting a business? The whole gambit, ask all those questions. And again, if you want to follow our business, we're not open yet, so you can still follow it from the infant stages. We do have our other channel. Go down the description. There's going to be a link there, and it's called Cafe, K-A-F-E, which means coffee, by the way, in Albanian, 1912. That's all I have for you. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. We'd really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video, and I'm going to end this by saying thank you in Albanian, which is Faleminderit.